Do you know the one mistake that's quietly costing contractors thousands, if not tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars every single month? Most don't, and it's killing their growth. And today, we're going to look at what that is because I've designed a tool specifically to help you understand these important things so that way your business flourishes in the new year. I see this all the time. Contractors working harder than ever, begging for help, looking for the next best marketing channel, but feeling stuck. They're hoping for a silver bullet or a golden goose, and it doesn't come. And the crazy part, it's often because of this one mistake that they don't even realize they're making, which is why they're wasting so much money and effort on the wrong things. As someone who was a contractor for 10 years and has helped hundreds of other contractors grow their business, I've seen how this mistake can make or break their bottom line. But here's the good news for you. You can fix it faster than you think. You just need to focus on the right things. So before I get to the big reveal and share with you the tool that I've been working countless hours on, I wanted to start with this question. I want you to think a little bit. Do you actually know how much revenue your business needs to hit their goals? And if you do you know how many calls you need? Of those, do you know how many leads you need? Do you know what your average ticket is? Do you know what your text conversion rate is? These are essential questions that we are going to not only help you understand why they're so important today, but we're also going to help you with a tool to help track these things and also simulate some conversion aspects so that way you know what you need to work on in 2025 and forward, so that way you always are focused on the right things. All right, so as you see on the screen, this is the Contractor Growth Platform. This is a tool that actually I have used AI prompts and technology to help me build this calculator. Now, that may sound really easy, but the nuances between having something that can get you a little bit of the way there to something that's actually really great and useful is a lot harder than people probably realize. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to walk you through the tool. I have examples all the way throughout this tool so that way you can see what numbers you need. If you already have these numbers available, open up another tab or another screen and have these available so you can do this along with me, or go back and capture these metrics, come back to the video, and then watch both simultaneously. So we're going to start. The example we're using today is a $1 million service company. And with this service company, because we have a lot of access to data from marketing metrics and things, I kind of put some numbers together that I thought were somewhat realistic based on our data. So this company, we'll call it ABC Heating because I can't think of another better name, has 3,500 total calls. This is for the year, these sales pipeline metrics. Of those, about 2,000 are leads. They book 1,050 appointments, and they sold 700 jobs. Their average ticket was about $1,500, and they have 4 employees. So it's a $1 million company. This is a very typical example. Some of these metrics may be different for you, but this is why it's so important. So this, as you're seeing, this is the first step in us understanding our metrics so we can go about fixing them, is to have these metrics. So if I've gone through this and you're looking at me with a crazy face or like, yeah, right, how am I going to get this stuff? That's where you need to start. So I wouldn't even go any further than this in the video. I would save the video and I would come back to it later when you have these things. So if you don't track these, start tracking these now so that way you can do this exercise later this year. So because we have those numbers, we're going to have these metrics. These metrics are kind of telling us how good our marketing is because we want to try to get more more leads from the calls that we get. What is our booking rate? This is essentially your CSR conversion rate. This may include some things like form submissions and some other things. And then how well does your team convert in the field? And of course, your average ticket would be the last metric. So what that's going to do, these metrics are all going to math up and put together your revenue. So this company does $1,050,000 a year. And then I put in some fictitious numbers for this gross profit, net, memberships, revenue per employee, things like that. So all of this automatically, you just have to put in your numbers. And the nice thing is nobody's gonna have access to this tool. You don't have to worry about it. It's complete with privacy. So I don't have any way of scraping the data on this. But I also put, because I've been in the trade so long, I put metrics that I think are important for you to know, because everybody needs a benchmark, a goal, a target, and I wanted to make sure this tool had these targets. So with this company, ABC Heating, let's say their gross profit is $550,000 out of that $1,050,000. That's great. The goal would be to be 50% or higher. And what happens is when you get to that metric, this turns a different color. Let's say we're only at like 45%, 42%. You can see it turns colors here. So I'm going to go back to the number that we had. Net profit, same thing. We would like to be at least 15% or higher. Obviously, a lot of businesses, and the reason that there's so many failed contracting businesses is because the net is so low. This is also a way for you to start writing down, let's say you're red in an area. That is something I would work on immediately and start going directly to that section and starting to figure out how we can make that better. Memberships, this is something that I think more companies need. We have a lot of clients that we have these conversations and they've never started a membership plan or never got off the ground, but you should realistically, for every $1 million in revenue, have about 500 of these. It also makes your business more valuable when it's time to sell. Revenue per employee, this metric has gone up drastically since my time in the trades. When I first started in the trades, the benchmark was at like 160 or 180,000 per employee, and that's including your office staff, so make sure you include them in this number. But with that said, with technology, automation, AI, all of the things that have come out in the last handful of years, it's really made our businesses more efficient, and pricing and the increases in pricing have also raised some of the revenue ceiling. So we really should try to be getting about 300,000 per employee. If you're not anywhere close to there, that is where you should start, is figuring out maybe I'm not getting the most out of my team, or maybe I need to infuse some other technology, or I need to learn AI and automation, or I need to hire someone to help me build some of these things so that way my business can be more efficient. Marketing spend, I put the goal here. The goal really depends. This is a big question. I get this all the time. Like, how much do we spend on marketing? What should our budget be? It really depends. First of all, you have to have net profit in order to spend on marketing. So if you're not there, I would focus here first. And with the marketing spend piece, I have a goal of less than 8%, because if you're growing and you're less than 8%, that is really, really, really good. That's kind of like the sweet spot, but it is okay if you're over this. It's not a big deal. So with my fictitious company, I want to grow 50% next year. I think that's reasonable. And as soon as you put this target in here, it's going to spit out the new revenue goal. It's going to take this number and add 50% to it, or whatever percentage you want to. This is also going to have your target gross profit in dollars. It's going to take the numbers you had last year. So if nothing changes, you're going to be at 825,000 in gross profit and 187.5 in net. Then the next piece of data that you need is your monthly revenue. I don't see this talked about enough. This was something I learned back, I think it was like 2014, 2015, when I started learning how to put together marketing plans and start planning our business and where we would need to get the revenue from throughout the year, because almost all home service businesses follow some sort of trend. Now, HVAC has a little bit more seasonal demand, plumbing, electrical, some other trades maybe don't have, maybe it's a little bit more level out, but there are still things that happen, back to school, holidays, that will change how your business is able to do revenue there. And this also helps you put your year out on kind of like a vision board of like, okay, wow, I didn't realize that we do, let's say 14% of our revenue in July. So you can plan and you can staff accordingly based on this. So I put these numbers in, and what this is all going to lead to is the monthly revenue projections. So what this is going to do, on the left-hand column, it's going to take your current revenue, which is what we put up above, and based on the 50% that we want to grow this year, it's going to give you projected revenue. So in order for you to stay on track, that's what this is going to spit out here. So let's say we end January and we're at 75,000. Okay, we already know we're behind target here. So then we need to start picking up the pace. And this is really just going to kind of help you as a barometer throughout the year, so that way you don't fall behind. It's also going to show you how many leads you need. And this is all based on your conversion metrics. So what this is telling you here is, for every lead that comes in, we're closing, meaning actually someone's swiping a credit card, giving us a check 35% of the time. That's going to seem really low, but that is actually what fairly good companies are able to process is about 35% of their leads actually turn into sales. Because if you think about it, that includes open estimates, that includes people that just pay your diagnostic, that includes people that just pay for your maintenance and they don't pay anything above that. Those are not sales. Those are essentially just basic tickets. So what we want to do is, and you can see how this works. Let's just change this really quick so you guys can kind of see. Let's say our conversion rate was better because we didn't get as many leads. You see how this jumped up to 40% and the number of leads went from 180 to 158. So what this means is the better you are at conversion, the less leads you need to grow your business. So this is the first step in understanding how to fix this main problem that contractors have, is you have to know the basic numbers so you can actually make growth and have training and have some things in place. So this will also kind of help you with the marketing budget. This has taken the marketing budget of $75,000 we had the year prior, and it's added the fact that we're going to be growing. So it's going to take 7.1% of this number here, whatever this number is, and it's going to make that your marketing budget. Now, some things to clarify here is if HVAC, I'll use you as an example, if you have seasonal demand where it is always really hot or always really cold in certain times of the year, you may need to turn that marketing budget down. You're going to get a lot of existing customers. You're going to get a lot of referrals. So you may want to turn that down, and you may want to take that budget and use it for when it's not hot or not cold. Same thing with plumbing. If maybe the holidays is when you struggle, at least this is what I hear from most plumbers and electricians, is that time between Thanksgiving and New Year's is when they struggle the most to get leads. Maybe you need to put more budget and effort into that time of year because you want to keep your team busy, especially before they buy Christmas presents for their family. All right, we are now to my absolute favorite section of this tool. I wish I would have had something like this back when I was in the trades, because this is extremely powerful. It shows you what happens when we make very small but significant changes to your business. So I'm going to say that our marketing is going to stay about the same this year. We're not going to necessarily take more calls and turn them into leads, because obviously some of that we can't control with spam and solicitors and things like that. So what this is showing is, so our conversion rate on the phone was 52.5% last year, which, believe it or not, with data spanning hundreds of thousands of phone calls for HVAC companies we work with, this is very much in line with what we see as a booking rate. So regardless of what your CRM tells you or your CSRs tell you, this is very, very, very normal when you have a third-party company looking at your data. So we just want to increase this a little bit from 52.5% to 55%. We're going to increase our sold rate, our tech conversion rate, from 66.7 to 70, and we're going to raise our average ticket about $100. Very, very insignificant changes. It's going to be just a little bit of adjustment, maybe a little bit of training, nothing too earth-shattering. And what you're going to see is, so last year we had 2,000 leads. If you remember from this example, we had 2,000 leads. I don't know why that's not coming out to the same number it should. But just by changing our call booking rate 2.5% over 12 months, we're going to get an additional 49 jobs, doing nothing else. We didn't spend another dime on marketing. And then we're going to increase our sold rate by 3.3%. Now we have added, between these two things, we've added 69 new jobs that have sold, somebody's paid, and that also go into our average ticket bucket, which should bump that up because we have less of those $49 or $79 tickets. And then we're going to raise our average ticket value $100. So with all of this done, we have not spent a single dime on marketing, software, anything else. And we've added $180,000 to our top line revenue, which, if we're not spending more in marketing and we're maximizing our team, we should be able to get that revenue per employee to that $300,000 mark. We should be able to be more profitable, have more gross and net profit, and our company should look healthier, and you as the business owner should be happier. So to recap, the number one mistake contractors make, and it's killing them, is not tracking these important metrics. This is not something that you should just track once a year when you're doing year-end planning. This is something you should look at every single month, if not every single week and day. If you've never tracked this before, start tracking it every month. If you've tracked it regularly, start tracking it every week, and then really try to bring this down to every single day. Make this a KPI for your team where they're reporting to you on what this looks like. So that way, this is just a checklist item for you to make sure these metrics are on par with what your goals are. All right, last couple things. If you stay with me this long, I appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button because we're going to come out with a lot more content that is going to be very, very valuable for you. So this metrics impact analysis is just showing you, so this is kind of wrapping everything up with a nice little bow, is the revenue target we have for the new year is 1.575. We already, because we're going to increase our conversion metrics, we're already projected to do 1.23. So we have $344,000 that we have to account for in other ways. And some of that's going from spending $75,000 this year to 113. So it's a $38,000 gap with marketing. So that should bring in more leads, which should also help you get to that goal. And this is just kind of showing you what that goal looks like and what that revenue impact looks like when we take these numbers and we increase them. And then lastly, this is just a pure value add. I really took some time to put together what a well-rounded marketing budget may look like. I'm not saying it should look exactly like this, but one mistake on top of the other mistakes we talked about that contractors are making is they don't have marketing budgets set aside for multiple avenues. They either do just SEO, or they focus on just LSA, or just PPC, or maybe just social media. Today's customer is everywhere. There are a ton of platforms to be found on, and everybody searches a little bit differently. So you want to make sure that your marketing plan is well-rounded, and this is to help give you an idea of what that looks like. So if we want to hit to 1.575 this year, I might be spending about $3,000 on SEO, $1,600 on local service ads, $1,400 on social media ads or content. This is kind of a big bucket for branding and things like that. And you may want to spend more on this. Really depends on who you are. You may want to take, maybe direct mail is something that you don't feel will work in your market. You can take that $703, put it in another bucket that you think will work better to get you to your goals. And down at the bottom, this just shows you your total annual marketing budget and what that looks like monthly, so you can prepare mentally for that hurdle, because we want to make sure that you're spending that budget wisely and you're spreading it out. Don't put all of those eggs, your parents have told you this, don't put all your eggs in one basket, because I promise you that is not the best way to grow your business. I've seen it dozens and dozens of times. So thank you very much for watching the video. If this video was helpful to you, please like and subscribe to the channel so that way I can put out more content that helps you grow your business in 2025. Thank you.